Hi, I'm Bridge, and I'm in Inaeona. We really believe in being authentic in ourselves because I think that's the only way you can be anyway. So I think we kind of overshare in a little bit of a way, only because we're brave in our communication, I think. I think that more people overall should be more brave in their communication and say what the life experience is and whatever your deal is and whatever life gives you. You know, and when you put it back out there, sometimes it feels magnified when you're doing it, but it becomes diluted when it goes out. So I think magnifying the honesty is really the way to go, and to stay really true to what you're saying, because people take what they need from it and what their own experiences are, and they'll hear something you're saying and like gravitate towards it, and it becomes something else, and it stops being just about you, and it starts being a thing about the greater experience of humanity, I suppose. So yeah, I guess the honesty was pretty serious on the album. I guess the reason why we're not like your run-of-the-mill metal band, which is not a bad thing because I love that, you know. I think that the limbs on the tree that you're talking about, all the different branches, again comes from that authenticity, that obsession with authenticity, that obsession with honesty, where I can't do anything but me. We can't do anything but us, you know, and I think everything in life kind of feeds that, or fuels that. And if you cut out one part or some parts and you just whittle it down, you end up being, at the end of the day, for me, it would be inauthentic. I have to bring all my experiences and all my loves to the table and make sense of it through my filter, I guess, and throw that back out there. And so we do end up being a little weird, a little strange, a lot different, but you know, you can't fear who you are. You can only be perfectly yourself. So, and that's how it comes out. So I guess that's it. I mean, because the roster is so traditionally metal, it can be a fear where you're gonna either stand out like a sore thumb and, you know, be a target for trolls, you know, or be, you know, criticized like, well, they don't know who they are yet. They don't know what they're doing yet. They haven't found their voice, but we have found our voice. This is our voice. And at the end of the day, I mean, Prosthetic decided to sign us. So we have something that they see. So I'm not really in fear of that so much. I think that it's good to have something different. I think it's a way of an album or a record label expanding themselves and maybe looking at what's coming up, because metal is wide, it is vast. It casts a huge net. And I think that if you have intensity and you have distortion overall, you're bringing it, you know? So it's good to, you know, maybe stir the pot up, which is not really what we're trying to do, we're just being us. But to have that different type of band on the roster is cool. We're not the only ones that are different, too. You know, I think Prosthetic is really moving forward in this awesome way when it comes to that, you know, and really trying to branch out. And with us, when it comes to like moving forward and any new albums coming out, any new music coming out, oftentimes we don't know what's going to happen until it happens. I think that's another unique perspective of us, because we aren't, you know, a certain type of metal, that there's so much of a bigger canvas, you know? I akin it sometimes to, because I went to art school, it's like if you have black and white photography or if you have, you know, color photography, a lot of times that black and white can, like, because you're so held down, you know, there's only so much you can do. Whereas if you work with color, you can actually make it black and white, you can make it everything. And so sometimes having more of those options is daunting. And can be scary because there's so much more you can do. You're not limited by your medium, you know, and so because we are such a different band and we're not really any sort of sound but our own, I don't think that, I guess, I don't know how to say it. It's scary because there are so many options. you know, and it can be just about anything. I just have to wait to hear it. As soon as I hear it, I'll know, you know, and that's it. That's take that, put it over there. You know what I mean? And that's how that goes. I hope that answers your question. It's kind of weird for me. I'm like thinking about it. Well, without them, there's no me. You know, without me, there's no them. Without each one of us, we don't exist. James, my drummer James, writes everything, does all the music. I do the arranging, lyrics, and Dave is one of the best bass players I've ever worked with. I think he does stuff that's really unique and brings a different layer that most, like a lot of bassists don't, just because, you know, as a bassist you're expected to hold down, you know, but he holds it down, but he also brings a melody. As a three-piece, I think his skill on bass is huge. But James writes all the music, and motherfucker can write some stuff, so it's like riffs for days. So it becomes this really serious collaboration that we've been doing for quite a while, and it's worked pretty fantastically. Well, that would be a question for James, because he is the writer. I know that not last tour, but the tour before, we've done 7 nationals on our own. This is our 8th, Behind Prosthetic, which is awesome. That sometimes he'll just be like watching the sky at night. Maybe something will happen, a wind will blow, and he'll be like, oh yeah, there's a riff, and it gets, you know, maybe he's listening to something like Celeste or Hall & Oates or something like that, and he'll hear it, and something will happen, and he'll just pull it from the ether, you know what I mean? And that's typically how it goes. So really it comes in like serendipity. It's sort of like these like little moments of like, whoa, everything just kind of went together. You just get hit by it like a lightning bolt. But for me, when it comes to like lyrically, my whole life is, I'm trying to whittle it down what I want to be saying next, because I said so much on this album that I think that's done and I need to move on. So that's something I've been thinking about quite a bit actually on this tour. Well, we vet a lot of our stuff live. We love bringing things in and practicing them and moving them and then rearranging and moving and layering and layering and layering. You know, it's like an oil painting. You have to wait for it to dry a little bit, you know, before you could start another section or start another layer or bring the depth in, you know, working the paint and working it to give it texture, to give it life, you know. And so a lot of our songs, mostly all of them, are moved through in a live situation very seriously. We have a couple on the album that we did studio only, and I find it fascinating to see how they're working out now live, because they've taken on like almost a different voice. Biggest fear, signing with Prosthetic, failure in a little bit of a way of not coming through, of wanting to do this so badly and needing to do it like a shark. If I stop, I'll die. If I stop swimming, I'll die. So when the opportunity came to us, it's not so much fear as it is like almost like a hyped up sense of reality of this is what we get to do, and we get to do it more on a greater stage, a bigger stage, or bring it to more people, which is super rad, but super scary too. Does that make sense? Yeah, I try not to worry about reviews so much, and luckily we've been blessed, hashtag blessed, with good reviews. And I think a lot of the negativity isn't really negativity, it's more like a critique, you know, of an aesthetic, you know what I mean? But for the most part, anything that's confusing for me is some of the references that we get, like they sound like this or that, and I'm like, I don't even know who that band is, so it's funny, you know, to me. But I don't mind if somebody is pushed to the point of having to say something in a critical way. It means that they actually gave it a listen, hopefully, before they got their idea around. I try to stay away from comment sections, things like that, just because I find a lot of those people have too much fucking free time. Well, hopefully more touring. We really love the road. We love playing, and I think there's a lot more that Force Rise has to say and to give. I think because we were just so crazily authentically ourselves, which doesn't make us better than anybody else. I'm just saying it's our bullshit is just that's what it is. I think there's a lot of leg left in that album and in these songs, and in the show, and everything I have to say about it, and we all have to say about it. I want to bring it to more people, and I want to travel more and meet more people and just share the experiences more and more, and I'm hoping that we get to tour a lot more. Yeah.